Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Hope you guys are doing well. Today is Friday, September the 19th. Markets are at all time highs. We don't have any red folder news. So, coming into today, we'll go over some of the charts that we're looking for coming into today on the major indices and, of course, on the tech names here as well. What's up, everyone? Good morning. Hope you guys are doing well. Good morning. What's up, B Roots? What's up, Nantali? What's up, Hartik, Monty, Victor, Robert, Ryan? Good morning, Wayne. Easy. Yes, I'll take a look at that in a bit. Good morning, Cinna. I am Vate, Jen, 50, Miss Reggie, Martin, Robert, Majid, Ko, Andreas, Nader, Norwin, Jesse, Juan, Audrey, Hector, Patrick, Deo. What's up, everyone? Hope you guys are doing well. Yeah, let's kind of get into the charts. There's no red folder news. We just had FOMC a couple days ago here as well. And so far, you can see kind of that first step getting bought up on the major indices. QQQ, definitely the leading indice, ended up bouncing right off our key level support yesterday, which was that 594, that old high that we created. And this one ended up making a nice high. Now, for the overall markets, we are holding above key levels. We are fairly bullish, at least on the NQ and NASDAQ, compared to the SPY and ES, which is good, just because we do have now what we'd like to see is the tech leading the market, which is good to see here. We'll see we'll see some nice setups here, definitely on the tech side within the next coming weeks to months here as well. Okay, let's first talk about the ES, mark out the key levels that we have coming into today. So for the ES, really, after FOMC, the key levels that we have marked out was just our old pivot point. So this is basically our FOMC high that we created based off this wick. And now you can see yesterday price ended up digging a little bit deeper into this key level, but so far we're holding this general area for the ES. And you can see, right, higher lows are still being built here on the higher time frames. For the ES now, we'd just like to see it maintain above your 66.95 for continuation towards the upside. Whenever it looks like this, and especially if there's something else leading the market like the NQ, this is the main chart we want to focus on, the NQ, just because now this one is leading back towards the upside. So for the ES, at least coming into today, key levels you're going to have marked out. It's going to be your previous day highs, 67.20. And then we have other levels, which is essentially your previous day lows. And we also have equilibrium here as well. So for the overall market, as I mentioned, maintain higher lows, and we could see this push back up and towards your previous day highs. If you look at the SPY here, key levels that we have marked out, similar thing. We have your previous day lows. We can mark this out if you want. We have your previous pivot point, which is your 661. Sorry, your 661. And then we also now have your previous day marked out, which is going to be your 662. We can actually just readjust this for your pre-market high along with your previous day highs, which is actually your 663. So for the SPY coming into market open, the key levels that we are going to have marked out is this 661. If you can maintain your 661, we can see this continue push back up and towards your previous day highs. Another scenario that we have here as well is it push up and towards your previous day highs right off the bat, or if you do want to see some more upside, break above your previous day highs, hold for this continued push towards the upside. So either scenario here for the ES and the SPY, we're going to be looking for a hold of key levels. I'm going to lean a little bit more towards the downside or intraday bearish if you can get underneath this 661. If you can get underneath this 661 hold, there's potential we could see your previous day lows. We are at all-time high, so of course I am leaning more towards the upside, but that's not out of the picture. So that's what we have for the SPY and ES coming into market open. If we're looking at this is the NQ, the NASDAQ. You can see this one is fairly more bullish than the overall SPY and ES. You can see this is your FOMC high. We end up coming back down in towards our previous all-time highs. And now you can see this level is being used nicely as a retest for continuation towards the upside. So for the ES coming into today, the key levels that we have marked out now is just going to be our old high. In this case, what we have marked out is our 24,640. That's our key level here on the higher time frames. And of course, we're going to mark out our previous day highs here as well, which is going to be our 24,800. We could just mark it out from the wick to the body in this case, which is going to be our previous day high. So those are the levels I have for the NQ, at least coming into today. What we like to see is really the reaction that we have off this high and off this low here. If we want to see some upside, right, we can also draw our opening range candle, potential push up and towards your previous day highs right off the bat, or right break above your all-time highs in this case for continuation towards upside. So that's what we have for the NQ. If you look at the QQQ, this is our key level, which is our 594. So you can see, right, break above your high that we created here, which was our FOMC high. It was also our high from Tuesday. And now you can see we broke above this here yesterday in the pre-market. Now we use this level as essentially a retest, 594. We end up having a nice push higher. So NQ is now leading the market back towards the upside along with the Qs, which is a really good sign to see. So now we can expect some nicer price action here for the QQQ, and we want to see continuation towards the upside. So for the Qs coming into today, what we're going to have marked out here is your 598, and we also have your 594 marked out. So this is your previous day highs. Also, it's your previous day lows. What are we going to be looking for is the reaction that we have off these levels. For the QQQ, a couple scenarios, we could be looking for consolidation, break above your opening range for a push up in towards your previous day highs, which is your 598. Another scenario now is going to be the break above your 598, hold above that level for continuation towards the upside. So this is what we have for the major indices coming into today. I will lean more towards the downside as I mentioned. Oops. I'll lean to more towards the downside as I mentioned if we are underneath this previous day lows now, which is going to be your 594. So that's the level I have for the QQQ coming into today. I do want to see now the break and hold above your previous day highs, specifically on the QQQ. Okay. Let me grab some water here and go over some of the tech names here as well. What's up, everyone? Hope you guys are doing well. Okay, let me go over some of the tech names and what we have coming into today. First things first, what we have here is Tesla. This one made a brand new high, kind of rejected offer 433 yesterday, and also got back underneath your previous day highs. In this case, Tesla's still bullish in my opinion, right? Higher lows are being built here on the higher time frames. A little bit of a bigger pullback, but this one, as I mentioned, higher time frames are still intact. Key level for me is going to be this 412. So coming into today, at least for the levels that we have marked out, we have a couple levels actually. We have our 424, and now what we're going to also have marked out, which is just going to be our 412 here. So this is what we have marked out on Tesla. Right, as I mentioned, higher lows are still being built. So as long as you can maintain above key levels, in this case 412, I am bullish and I expect continuation towards the upside. Currently, right, if it does reject off of key levels or if it breaks underneath now 412, I'm going to be less bullish here on Tesla. So what I like to see coming into today is the push back above your 424 reclaim for a push back towards the upside. So your 424 is going to be key here on this ticker. I'm going to lean a little bit more towards the downside if it right kind of pop and fades right off the bat, or now if it gets underneath your 412, which is a very key level support. Also your FOMC low here as well. Then I will be leaning a little bit more towards the downside on this ticker. But so far, right, higher lows are being built. We can expect a continuation higher just based off the daily chart, also the 1 hour chart here as well. So key level for Tesla coming to today, it's going to be this 424. Not really too much to talk about. It has been consolidating just a bit more this week after a big move that it had last week, also on Monday as well. So we're just going to keep an eye out on Tesla for that next leg towards the upside. As for a few other tickers, Apple, this one is pushing up nicely here, still holding up. You can see higher lows are being built above your 238. Key levels that we have marked out is your 241. We also have your 238 here marked out. Right, higher time frame, potential cup and handle. If you can now break above your 241, we can see some nice continuation towards the upside. So for Apple, this is going to be my main watch. One of my main watches coming into market open. You can see just based off of this week's price action, nice continuation towards the upside. Now we have a couple touches off this 241. What I personally like to see is the break above your 241 hold for this continued push towards the upside. So that's what we have for Apple coming into market open. Now it's going to be that hold above your 241.32 for continuation higher. So that's what we have on this ticker. We'll keep an eye out on that 241 as I mentioned. As for Nvidia, so Nvidia has a bunch of news. So we had some news last week. We had some news yesterday. So there's a lot of news currently on Nvidia. So in this case, the key levels that we have, we'll talk about NVIDIA, but the key levels that we have is going to be this 176.50. I might have to readjust my levels here as well, but basically the levels that we have here on NVIDIA, they are, you can see they've been invalidated. We broke above them, got underneath. So it's a good sign that this one is definitely a little bit more choppy. You can kind of just zoom out, right? If you zoom out here on the daily chart, it gives you a lot more clear of a picture, right? We've been consolidating for the past really 20 to 40 sessions. So for Nvidia, definitely been a tougher read, at least on the lower time frames. But overall, based off of the higher time frames, if we actually zoom out a little bit more, you can see we're still fairly bullish. So for Nvidia, I would like to see that push back up and towards your all-time highs here. So for Nvidia, key levels that we have marked out is now going to be your previous day highs. We also have your 176.50 here as well. So those are the levels that I have marked out. For NVIDIA, I would like to see eventually that push back up and towards your all-time highs. But key levels currently, at least coming to market open, we're going to have marked out your 176.50. I'm going to readjust this level, but we also have your 174 here as well. I do want to see now the break above your previous day highs if you want to see any sort of continuation back towards the upside here on this ticker. As for AMD, this one ended up reclaiming back above your previous day low. So key level for AMD, I do like this one. As you can see, nice bounce off of your 150. Also reclaim back above your previous day low. So now what I like to see here on AMD, hold back above this 155. So 155 reclaimed back above this key level, which was your low that we created here on Wednesday. Now I'd like to see higher lows be built for this continuation back towards the upside. So this is going to be the key level for AMD coming to market open, that 155 hold. Another possible scenario, break above your previous day highs for continuation back towards the upside. The only scenario that I'm going to lean a little bit more bearish here intraday is now going to be the break back underneath 155. If you hold underneath this level, then I'm going to lean a little bit more towards the downside on this ticker. So that's what we have for AMD coming into today. As for Meta, the key levels that we have is going to be this 768. This is what we have drawn out. Next key levels is going to be that all-time highs, 793 here on Meta. Not too much to talk about on this one. Slowly just kind of building up higher lows towards the upside. As for Google, key level that we have marked out is your previous all-time highs, 252. That's a level that we'd like to see hold if you want to see some continuation back towards the upside here as well. That 252.50 is going to be key for Amazon. A lot more consolidation here. Not too much to talk about on this ticker. And then really for the rest of these tech names, not too much to talk about as well. So you can see that the QQQ is at all-time highs. A couple of these names are at all-time highs, but a lot of these ones have been lagging. That's why it has been more difficult to trade the tech names the past few weeks. But now with the Qs leading again, we want to see some of these tech names setting back up. And of course, we have some other names as well. Palantir had a really solid push yesterday. I ended up taking this one after that consolidation break. We'll talk about this one here in a second. But as for my main trades, at least from the Mag 7, and what I'm going to keep an eye out on coming into today is going to be Apple. This one, as I mentioned, has a higher time frame breakout. If you can get above that 241, that's going to be key for that next continuation higher. You can see higher lows are still being built here. If you can now get above that 241, hold above that level, we can see this next leg towards the upside. So keep an eye out on Apple coming to market open, showing some relative strength here in the pre-market as well. So Apple is going to be one of our main watches. I think we do have some news with Nvidia, so we'll keep an eye out on this ticker here as well. And then, of course, Tesla. This one's consolidating a bit more, so I don't think it'll set up today, but key level is going to be this 424. Okay, if you guys do have any charts or any tickers you'd like me to go over, you guys can now drop them in the chat. If you guys are enjoying this so far, I appreciate if you guys drop me a like. If you guys haven't joined the daily watch list, that one is in the description below. And of course, if you guys haven't joined the wait list for the event coming in at the end of the month, you guys can do so as well. All right. What's up, everyone? Good morning. Hope you guys are doing well. Yeah, if you guys have any charts or any tickers you'd like me to go over, you guys can now drop them in the chat. Let's see. What do you think about Intel, trading Intel with the news NVIDIA also being backed by Trump? Also, 9 p.m., Trump is meeting with President. Might be into play. Yeah, so what we have to remember is that we had Intel a month ago. We had some pretty big news. US invested like 10% into Intel, or bought 10% worth. You can see it was just holding up, right? Big news, right? News catalyst holding up, right? Higher lows are being built. It was getting tighter and tighter. Of course, we had news as well, and they shot up towards the upside. So for Intel now, you have a news catalyst. We do expect that first dip to get bought up. So this one, surprise news event. This one kind of consolidated yesterday, but higher time frame key levels that we have marked out is 30. So I'd like to see buyers now start stepping in. We'll see if day two, we can see some buyers step in and push us back towards the upside. But moving forward, Intel is going to be a pretty big name to keep an eye out on, at least for day trading. I still don't think there's good kind of day. Is some day trading opportunities, but this one's primarily based off the higher time frame. So you're going to be looking at swings and more longer term theses on this one. Let's go on to Palantir. So Palantir, we talked about this one yesterday. Key levels that we have marked out was our 172. So I've been talking about this level for a while now. You can see Palantir came back down on Thursday. Sorry, this was on Wednesday. It came all the way back down in towards that 163. You can see some buyers stepping in right off our key level. And then we came back up in towards our 172. So our 172 here was key. We mentioned previous level of support turned into resistance. If you go into the lower time frames here, how many touches we have off this level? 1 touch, 2 touch, multiple touches here on Palantir. Once we broke above, you can see on the 5-minute time frame, nice break above your pre-market highs, retest perfectly, lower wicks here as well, continuation towards the upside. So nice here on Palantir, traded up in towards that 177. Now, if we want to see continuation, it's going to be above your previous day high. So we can mark out your 177 along with your previous day highs. So we can mark this, drag it over, and now this can be used as a key level here for Palantir. Let me actually go back onto the one. So that was a wick. So I'll just mark this out. So I'll mark this. So key levels that I have for Palantir, I'm I'm just going to mark it out to this 178.50. So coming into today here for Palantir, right, nice break above, continuation towards the upside. Next key levels that we're going to have marked out, it's really just going to be this area here as well, kind of that opening push that we had. So for Palantir, what I like to see coming into market open is one of two things, right? One scenario, hold and maintain above that 175 for this continued push back up and towards your previous day highs and above. Or now it's going to be right the break above your previous day highs for continuation higher. So either scenario on Palantir works coming into market open. So you can keep an eye out on this ticker for continuation higher. As I mentioned, 175, and you're also going to have marked out your previous day highs for continuation. As for SoFi, finally, this one has hit all-time highs. I've been waiting for a very long time for this one to hit all-time highs. If you guys have been watching the pre-market preps for a while now, but we mentioned all-time highs was in play for a while. So key level, once we finally broke above your 25 all-time highs now, right? You can expect a little bit of reaction here, but overall higher time frames very much bullish on this ticker. We have clear skies now since we are above all-time high. So that's what we have for SoFi. Key levels that we have marked out, right? All-time highs 28.24 on this ticker. So you just want to keep an eye out on the reaction that we have off this level coming into today. As for a few other tickers that we have marked out, AVGO, key levels that we have is your 356. You can see broke underneath it here on Wednesday. And now yesterday, a little bit more consolidation kind of inside bar. So for AVGO, this one's still fairly bullish here on the higher time frames just because it's building higher lows. But what you'd like to see, as I mentioned, is the reclaim back above your 355 if you want to see any sort of continued pushback towards the upside. So that's what we have for AVGO coming into today. You can just mark out your key levels in this case, which is just going to be your previous day lows. Sorry, we can mark out this low, which is going to be your 342. And you can mark out your previous day highs, and you can also mark out your previous day lows here as well. So keep an eye out on those levels for AVGO. As for Oracle, this one's pulling back into key levels of support. You can see so far buyers are stepping off this 292. What we now like to see is this kind of downtrend form here on Oracle and push back towards the upside. So if you're looking at this on the 1 hour chart, you can see a little bit of a downtrend. Buyers are stepping in off this 292. We like to see the break back above your 308 for this continued pushback towards the upside. So that's what we have for Oracle coming into market open. As for Hood, this one made a brand new all-time highs yesterday. Key levels that we have marked out is that 123. So 123 is key. And we ended up hitting that all-time high. So this is the level we can have marked out moving forward. But as for today, key levels that you're going to have marked out on Hood is going to be your 123 previous all-time highs. And now we can also just mark out, it's just going to be your previous day lows in this case, which is your 120 key psych level. So as long as you can maintain above higher lows, we can expect Hood to continue back towards upside. So that's what we have for Hood. As for a few other tickers, MU, nice push towards all-time highs yesterday. You can see nice consolidation and nice push towards the upside. Now key levels that we're going to have marked out. It does seem like we have some news here in the pre-market. But as for MU, key levels that we're going to have marked out, previous day lows, 163, and then all the way back down in towards our Wednesday's highs, which is that 160 key pivot level. So that's what we have for MU. And then for a few other names, as for TSM, the key levels that we have marked out is going to be that all-time highs here as well. So at least for TSM, key levels that we have marked out is going to be your all-time highs, 272, what we like to see in this case, right? Kind of these big wicks yesterday, pushed towards the downside, immediately bought back up. Overall, higher time frame, still fairly bullish, but pretty big wick, kind of taking out both sides. Key levels now that I'm going to have marked out is just going to be this old pivot point that we can draw out once again is going to be this 264. So that's what I have for TSM. Let's read the chat here as well. What's up, everyone? Let's go over Baba. BABA looks good, basing above our key levels that we marked out yesterday, 162. So nice kind of buyer step in and off this 162. Came back up and towards that lows that we created here on Wednesday. Now, if you can get back above your previous day highs, we can see some continuation back towards the upside. So for BABA, the levels that we're going to have marked out today is going to be this 164. Previous day highs and your Wednesday's lows. If you can get above this level, we can see some nice continuation towards your 166 and above. So that's going to be key here for BABA. If we reject off this level, we're just going to come right back down in towards our previous day close. So we have for BABA. As for coin, nice push up yesterday after consolidating for a while now. Daily chart trying to break back towards the upside here. So key levels that we kind of had drawn out was the 330. Once we broke above, now the next levels is all the way back towards our 345, and we also have room towards our 376. So those are the levels that we have marked out here on coin. If we can now break above your 345, we can see some continuation towards the upside. So key level 345, if you can reclaim, hold above your 345, we can see continuation towards your 350 here and above. So that's what I have for coin coming into market open. Let's see. How do you read volume indicated on the chart? So you have to have your volume indicator. I have it on a few other charts, but basically you're going to look at the volume in relation to the overall price action and the key levels as well. As for IWM, this one hit all-time highs. We talked about this one gravitating towards all-time highs, and now you can see nice push higher. Key levels that we have marked out is going to be this news candle high that we created from FOMC. So this is going to be a very key level here for IWM moving forward. If we can maintain above this level, we can see some continuation higher. If we break back underneath your 244, we can see a little bit of a mean reversion back towards the downside. So key levels that we have marked out is going to be the FOMC high here on IWM. What time is the event, in the morning or in the evening? I assume it's in the afternoon. We're going to have some more information on that coming soon. As for open, key levels that we have marked out is our 1060. You can see multiple touches here on open, but we now like to see break above 1060 for continuation towards the upside. As for gold, this one consolidating a little bit more here and now. Key levels that I mentioned has to reclaim is back above your 3675. This one's just coming back down into key levels of support. So for gold, at least for the next leg higher, right, you'd like to see kind of invalidation, right, break back above for this continued push back towards upside. What you don't want to see, confirm this head and shoulders and push back towards the downside. Key level in this case is going to be your 3630. If you're using candles, you're not using Heikin-Ashi. Yes, that is correct. Let's see, scroll down here as well. What is the triple which option today? Is it negative or positive? I think you're talking about OPEX. So OPEX, third Friday. It's your third Friday of the month. It's OPEX, basically just options expiring every third Friday. Going to be slow Friday because there's no red folder news. Yeah, we'll see what happens right after FOMC. We are at all-time high, so we'll see how that volatility kicks in. If we do move higher, expect kind of this slow grind towards the upside. We'll see if there are some nice trading opportunities coming to market open, but the levels that we do have are fairly clear. So, okay, let's go on to my game plan, and then I'm actually gonna get ready for market open. So coming into today here for the SPY and the Qs, key levels that I mentioned is going to be your 661 and also your previous day highs here as well. So as you can see here for the SPY, as I mentioned, a few scenarios, either the bounce off your 661 or now it's going to be the break above your 663 for continuation towards the upside. If you go into the QQQ key levels that we have marked out is your 594. We also have your 598. So either that opening range for continuation or now it's going to be the break above your previous day highs for continuation towards the upside. So those are the scenarios I have for the overall indices coming into today here on both SPY and the Qs. If you go into the if you go into the NQ key level 24,800. If you go into the ES key level, is going to be your 67.20s. So those are the levels I have marked out for the major indices. As for my top watch coming into market open, what we have here is Apple, which is your 241 higher time frame key level. This could be a main watch coming to market open for a break above for continuation towards the upside. So I'll keep an eye out on Apple coming into today. As for a few other tickers here, we'll keep an eye out on Nvidia just because it has news the past few sessions. So we'll keep an eye out on this ticker. As for some other tickers that we do have, AMD potential mean reversion. If you can hold above your 156, we can see a pushback towards the upside. And then really for the rest of the tickers, I don't see too much. Tesla, we want to see that reclaim of your 424. Google, hold of that 250, 250. And then we could keep an eye out on Palantir for that first dip for continuation back up and towards your previous day highs and above. So coming into today, we're going to be a little bit more cautious. We're just going to see we're going to see what happens here on the SPY and Qs. My main watch coming to today, as I mentioned, is going to be Apple. So I'm going to keep an eye out for that. Let me scan here once more for some other tickers. But yeah, that's primarily it, at least coming into today. Circle potentially shaping up here as well if you can break above your Wednesday's highs for a pushback towards the upside. But yeah, that is primarily the main tickers that I'm going to be looking for coming into today. So that's going to be a short kind of pre-market prep for me, at least this morning. That's going to be it for me today. Let's see what else. Yeah, that's going to be it for me today. As I mentioned, right, we're just going to keep an eye out on the SPY and Qs. Keep an eye out on your previous day highs. And of course, Apple seems like the only ticker I'm somewhat interested coming to market open. So I'll focus on that one here. So yeah, that is going to be it for me today. A little bit of a shorter one today, but it is a Friday. We'll see what shapes up here coming into the end of week. We'll see what shapes up next week here as well. But yeah, it's going to be it for me today. I'm going to get ready for market open here now. If you guys did enjoy that, I appreciate it if you guys drop me a like. If you guys haven't joined the daily watch list, that one is in the description below. And of course, if you guys haven't joined the wait list for the event coming in at the end of the month, you guys can do so. That's the first link in the description. So yeah, it's going to be it for me today. I hope you guys have a great rest of the week, and I hope you guys have a great rest of the weekend, and I will see you guys all next week. All right. Take care, everyone. Have a great rest of the week. Peace.